Good morning, boys and girls. It's nice to see you all this morning. Hi, you want to say hi, Nala? You want to say hello? So today is Friday, April 10th, 2020. Let's go ahead and write the date. Remember, when we write the date, we always start with the day. Watch out, please. Friday, April 10th, 2020. Notice my F in Friday is capitalized, means that it's important. Also, my A, excuse me, Nala, thank you. My A in April is capitalized because it's important as well. And here we have a comma, and that separates the day from the year. All right, boys and girls, I would like, come here, Nala, come here, sit down, sit, good girl. I would like to show you our egg that has been sitting in vinegar. I think the shell is almost completely ready to come off. So yesterday when I showed you, I had a paper towel and I wiped it a little bit and you could see where the shell was coming off. So hopefully today the whole thing will come off. You have to be careful because the egg can still get punctured, can still break. So we have to be gentle. Most of the shell is off. The egg is squishy and just has that outer membrane. I still have a little bit left on mine, so I'm going to keep mine in my vinegar, and I'm going to check it again tomorrow, even though tomorrow we won't have circle time. But I'll let you know how it goes. Can you see in there underneath the light? I can see the yolk. All right, boys and girls, I hope you all had a great week. I'd like to share a story with you. It's called Horton Hatches the Egg. You can listen now. Horton Hatches the Egg by Dr. Seuss. Ah, sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored and I've kinks in my legs. From just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers, and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it, no trouble at all. Just sit on it softly, you're gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow, I know you won't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant, since you insist. You want a vacation? Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie and fluttered away. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done before I get on it. I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish you'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn, the leaves blew away, and then came the winter, the snow and the sleet. The icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting, and he said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I mean what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round, and they shouted with glee, Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree. They taunted and teased him, they yelled, How absurd! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. They laughed, and they all ran away, and Horton was lonely, he wanted to play. But he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up slowly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and threw out his chest. He looked at the hunters as much as to say, Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's what we'll do. Let's take him alive while he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's what we'll do. Let's take him alive while he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains 10,000 feet high, then down, down the mountains, and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and into a ship, out over the ocean, and what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said, Day after day, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, but oh, I am seasick, 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied to a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Thornton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus, then week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington, too, to Daytona, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota, and everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the further he went, but he said as he sat in a hot, noisy tent, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. Then, one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not far from Palm Beach. And drawing along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation, still just as lazy. And spying the flags in the tents just below, she sang out, "What fun! Why, I'll go to the show." And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. "My good gracious!" gasped Maisie. "I've seen you before." Poor Norton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, though there rang out the noisiest, ear-splattering squeaks from the egg that he sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg! Why, it's hatching!" "But it's mine!" screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. "That's my egg!" she sputtered. "You stole it from me. Get off of my nest and get out of my tree." Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But that very instant the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's all this about?" They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. "My goodness, my gracious," they shouted. "My word, it's something brand new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be like that. Because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy 100%.
All right, boys and girls, thank you for listening to the story. And I will be gone I will be gone next week for spring break, but I will come back on April 20th, on Monday, April 20th, and I will see you all then. So long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now. Until we meet again, I said so long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Nala, do you want to say bye?